Hello everyone. This story is about Lytuky, a young woman caught up in a complex case tied to her family's bloody past. Thursday, Lytuky's adoptive mother kept silent for many years out of fear. When Lytuky was captured, Thursday decided to reveal the truth and, together with Henry, gathered evidence to track down the perpetrators. Lytuky was rescued, faced the truth, and resolved to fight for justice for her family. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to the channel to follow along. The night was heavy with silence. A fine drizzle fell from the dark sky, soaking the narrow alleys of the city's outskirts. Henry stood at the edge of an abandoned park, the light from a single lamppost flickering above him. He had received a call, no name, no details, only a trembling voice that said, "Come alone. I'll tell you everything." And now, as if the night itself held its breath, a shadow emerged from behind the trees. "Henry," the voice quivered. It was her. But Thursday, he stepped forward, cautious but calm. She looked older than he remembered, eyes sunken, shoulders hunched, face pale like someone haunted by years of guilt. Her clothes were soaked, her hair stuck to her cheeks, but she seemed unaware of the rain. I can't run anymore," she whispered, her voice nearly lost in the wind. "They took her, didn't they?" "They took Lytuky." Henry nodded grimly. "Yes. They knew she was close to the truth. That's why I need you to tell me everything. No more hiding." She paused, her lips trembling. "I never meant to lie. I only wanted to protect her." And then, beneath the dim light of the lamppost, Thursday began to speak. Her words came slowly, each syllable etched with years of regret. 20 years ago, I worked as a housekeeper for the Vu family, the owners of Tan Song Company. Lytuky's parents were kind, generous. They treated me like family. But their success attracted envy and danger. She wiped a tear from her cheek, her hands trembling. "There was a man," she continued. "A powerful military general. He wanted the company, wanted to turn it into a front for his smuggling operations. When her parents refused, he sent people. Merciless men. One night, they broke into the house. There was screaming, blood. I hid in the cellar with the baby. Lytuky." Henry listened silently, his jaw clenched. "I ran. I took the child and disappeared. I changed her name. I raised her as my own." But Thursday's voice cracked. "I was too afraid to tell her. Afraid they would come back. Afraid the truth would break her." She looked Henry in the eye now. "But she deserves to know, doesn't she? She deserves to know who her parents were, and who took them from her." Henry stepped closer. "Yes. And if you help me now, we can bring those people to justice. We can end this." "But they're watching," she whispered. "They always are. I saw a man near my boarding house yesterday. I knew I had to leave. That's why I disappeared. I couldn't let them find her. You don't have to run anymore, Henry said firmly. I've already opened a case. We're building a task force. But we need your testimony. Her lips parted in surprise. Hope, fragile and uncertain, flickered in her eyes. Will you protect her? She asked. With everything I have. She slowly reached into her coat pocket and handed him a small envelope. Inside is everything I have: old letters, photographs, documents. Proof of what happened. Henry took the envelope and nodded. We'll make this right. I promise. As the rain began to pour harder, Thursday broke down. She wept not just for the past, but for the years lost, for the silence that had cost so much. Henry gently placed his hand on her shoulder. Thank you, he said. That night, under a broken sky, a buried truth was finally unearthed. And the war for justice had officially begun. With trembling hands but unwavering resolve, Henry placed the folder of evidence on the desk in front of his superior. Inside were decades-old photographs, faded documents, and a tear-stained confession from Mrs. Thursday. The silence in the room was thick until Henry's voice cut through like a blade. This isn't just about a kidnapping, he said, locking eyes with his team. This is about a massacre that's been buried for 20 years. It's time to dig it up. The task force was assembled within hours. Mrs. Thursday's testimony had confirmed what Henry had long suspected, that Lytuky was the daughter of the murdered CEO and that the man behind the crime, General Loeb, was still wielding power from the shadows. Now, with new evidence and a personal motive, Henry initiated a citywide manhunt. Their mission was twofold: bring Lytuky home, and bring justice to the doorstep of every man who tried to silence her family. Meanwhile, Lytuky sat alone in a dark, windowless room. Her wrists were bound, her lips dry, but her spirit unbroken. The room reeked of dust and gasoline, the only sound the quiet hum of a dying light bulb swinging overhead. Fear crept in at times, but what kept her awake wasn't fear. It was anger. It was purpose. She'd overheard enough during the past 2 days to piece together what was happening. She wasn't just a random victim, she was a threat. The last remaining witness. The daughter of the truth they tried so desperately to erase. Outside the door, 2 guards whispered. They say if we don't get rid of her before the police find this place, we're next. A chill ran through her spine, but Lytuky didn't panic. That sentence, as terrifying as it was, ignited a fire within her. They feared her. Because the truth she carried, her very existence, was a danger to their empire of lies. She clenched her fists and made a vow in that moment: if she made it out alive, she wouldn't just survive. She would make them pay. Across the city, Henry's team narrowed the location to an abandoned farmhouse on the outskirts of town. Night had fallen. Rain lashed against the windows of their armored vehicle. No one spoke. The mission was clear. The moment they breached the property, chaos exploded. Shouts, gunshots, and broken glass filled the night air. Henry stormed through the halls like a man possessed, until he saw her. Lytuky. Bruised, exhausted, but standing. He ran to her side, cutting her bonds with shaking hands. Their eyes met, hers filled with shock, his with relief. "You're safe now," he whispered. But she shook her head slowly, eyes burning with something fierce. "No," she said. "We're just getting started." Back in the dim hospital room, Lytuky lay on the bed, her body battered but her mind sharp as ever. The rescue had saved her from the immediate danger, but the storm she was about to face was far from over. Henry sat quietly nearby, watching her with a mixture of relief and concern. This was only the beginning of a long, grueling battle, one that would test every ounce of her courage and resilience. After resting for a few hours, Lytuky requested to see Mrs. Thursday. The request surprised Henry, but he understood that confronting the past was necessary for her to move forward. When the two women finally met, the air was thick with unspoken pain and years of silence. Mrs. Thursday's eyes brimmed with tears as she spoke softly, her voice trembling. "Have you ever wondered why I never told you the truth? Why I kept you in the dark all these years?" Lytuky looked at her, emotions swirling inside like a storm. She had so many questions: anger, betrayal, sorrow, but the dominant feeling was a deep yearning for answers. "I was scared," Mrs. Thursday admitted. "Afraid that the truth would destroy you. That those who killed your family would come after you again. I thought hiding you was protecting you. But maybe I was just protecting myself from the pain." Lytuky's heart clenched. All this time, the woman who raised her bore the weight of a secret too heavy to share. Slowly, she reached out, taking Mrs. Thursday's trembling hands in hers. "I forgive you," Lytuky whispered, "but now, I want the truth. I want justice, not just for me, but for all who were lost." Mrs. Thursday nodded, tears streaming freely. She handed over old letters, photographs, and a faded diary, silent witnesses of a family torn apart by greed and betrayal. This was the evidence they needed. The investigation intensified. Henry and his team worked tirelessly, following the threads of corruption that stretched into the highest levels of power. The name of General Lowe, once whispered in fear, now echoed in courtrooms and headlines. The public rallied behind Lytuky, moved by her bravery and determination. In a dramatic press conference, Lytuky stood before the cameras, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. "My parents were taken from me by men who believed they were untouchable. But their crimes will no longer be hidden in the shadows. I stand here today to demand justice, not just for my family, but for every victim silenced by fear." Her words sparked a nationwide call for accountability. Investigations uncovered decades of illegal activities, bribery, and violence linked to the powerful elites who once ruled with impunity. But even as the legal battle raged on, Lytuky knew the fight was as much personal as it was political. She had lost so much: her childhood, her family, her innocence, but she refused to be defined by tragedy. Each day, she grew stronger, her resolve hardening like tempered steel. One evening, Henry found her standing at the window, gazing out as the city lights flickered in the distance. "Do you think we can win?" he asked quietly. Lytuky turned to him, a fierce light burning in her eyes. "We don't have a choice," she said firmly. "Justice isn't just a goal, it's a promise. To my parents, to Mrs. Thursday, and to myself. We will see this through. No matter what it takes." As the night deepened, the two shared a silent understanding. This was just the beginning of a long road ahead. But for the first time in years, Lytuky felt hope. The fight for truth and justice had finally begun.